Sawasdee good morning and thank you for joining us on Newsline, broadcasting live on NBT Radio Thailand, FM 88 and NBT World. It's Sunday, February 28th, and you're with me, Suraphal Lautaranarit. Welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha has reaffirmed the government's intention to give all landless farmers agricultural land and strengthen the agro sector on the occasion of the National Cooperative Day. General Prayut disclosed that the government has recently handed a land use permit to the Rabam Land Reform Cooperative in Uthai Thani province. The document allows more than 500 landless farmers to avail themselves of 2,400 rights in the land reform zone. General Prayut said the same program would be expanded to other provinces. Aside from the land use permit, relevant agencies are promoting the Smart Farmer project among agriculturists to encourage them to be self-reliant. The project will be incorporated in the public policy. The Prime Minister also gave more support to those who are determined to improve themselves to become self-supporting farmers. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha said the government had been keeping a close watch on the drought situation as well as its effects on agriculture. In his national televised address, the Prime Minister said the combined amount of water stored in large and medium-sized reservoirs throughout Thailand was reportedly as low as 39 million cubic meters, which is 5.3 million cubic meters lower than what Thailand had in the previous year. In order to prevent water scarcity in the future, he said everyone must use water more efficiently, whereas the government would strictly exercise the National Water Management Plan so that there would be enough supply for consumption, agriculture, and the industrial sector. In terms of alleviating the effects of the ongoing dry season, he said the government had approved a number of assistance measures, which would serve as an emergency response. He added that the government would make sure that farmers do not have to struggle in times of disaster. Thai PBS TV channel, the Thai Chamber of Commerce, and various other public as well as private organizations are uniting in an effort to combat drought in Thailand. On the 24th of February 2016, the Thai Chamber of Commerce and Thai PBS held a press conference to announce the drought combating project, which is aimed at reducing urban water usage by 30%. By raising awareness of the drought among the Thai public. The goal is to supply more water for use by the agricultural sector. At the same time, a conference of experts from various academic and governmental bodies also met to discuss the likely extent of the drought. Thailand's 2016 drought has been described as the most severe in 20 years. Many experts expressed their view that water conservation among urban households is unlikely to be effective without cooperation from the agricultural sector, the main users. Mr. Pisit Hongwanichakul, Assistant Governor for Plan Strategy of the Provincial Waterworks Authority, pointed out that 27 out of 51 authority branches being monitored have experienced saltwater intrusion and are already subject to reduced production capacity as a direct result of the growing drought, which is much more severe than last year. Thailand regularly suffers from forest fires during the annual dry season, which often results in widespread haze and pollution affecting the health of local villagers. Kuntarin Ansakul has visited Chiang Mai province to check out preparations being made to combat forest fires.
The Royal Forest Department, Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation, Royal Thai Air Force, the Army Region 3, and Chiang Mai Provincial Disaster Prevention and Mitigation Office have co-organized training courses on forest fire control urgently needed to alleviate the smoke haze problem. The airplane from the Royal Thai Air Force, the fire engines from the Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, and the helicopter from the Ministries of National Resources and Environment are ready for the fire control and haze control operation in this year. The Director of the Forest Protection and Fire Control Office, Siri Akara, has advised that the government provides training courses for all operations level forest fire control personnel in both ground and air operations.
We are ready at a certain extent. This means that we have some limitation about the manpower and resources. Yeah. But under what we have at this moment, we are ready.
A war room has been set up at the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment's headquarters to maintain a permanent watch for forest fires and smoke pollution in the 9 northern provinces: Tak, Lampang, Lamphun, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Nan, Phrae, Phayao, and Mae Hong Son. The war room also acts as a coordinating center for the agency responsible for forest fire control, as well as being a center to exchange useful information between them.
The war room, right, it is very important because a good plan is mean that half of the work done. And especially fighting forest fire is very dangerous business. Yeah, so it means life or death. So we have to be carefully planned before we are taking action.
However, to prevent forest fires and widespread haze in the most vulnerable provinces, including Chiang Mai, action by government units is not enough. The control measures now being applied against forest fires and haze have to be done in a proactive and civil state manner, integrating public efforts in both the community and agricultural areas to stop the excessive burning of the country's forest land. Camera work by Pakon Vimunka. I am Tarin Angskun for NBT World.
Meanwhile, the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA, voted 158 to pass the bill on the establishment of the Administrative Court and Administrative Court procedure into law. The legislature passed the bill in its third reading, which took place on Friday. The new act will take effect 60 days after it has been published in the Royal Gazette. According to the NLA, the law was very sensitive and would require a true understanding from the public before it could be enforced. The Act, containing 9 articles, is a revision of the Act on the Establishment of the Administrative Court and Administrative Court Procedure 1999. The new Act also regulates duties of law enforcers and mandates that administrative officers strictly adhere to orders of the Administrative Court. Thailand's first electric bus has begun its trial run in Bangkok. The test run will last until May 25th of this year. Mr. Omsin Chuaprup, Deputy Minister of Transport, officiated at the ceremony to launch the test run for the country's first electric bus, which runs between Don Mueang Airport and Mochit Bus Terminal. The fare is 30 baht per person per ride. The procurement of the bus was the collaboration between the Bangkok Mass Transit Authority, or BMTA, and Loxley Public Company Limited. The bus is 12 meters long and has 35 seats. It is also wheelchair accessible, while its design is in line with international standards. The BMTA is scheduled to procure 20 more electric buses in May, according to the Deputy Minister. The final theme of the cultural fair at Klong Padung Krung Kasem Market took place from February 22nd to the 26th. Here's a report from Kun Sutisha Denputham.
The cultural fair at Klong Padung Krung Kasem Market is entering its final phase, the Market of Mirrors, which celebrates the sacred tradition of Maka Busha Festival on 22 to 26th of February. The cultural fair at Klong Padung Krung Kasem Market is a government initiative to preserve and promote Thai traditional culture by bringing together sellers of local products from all over Thailand. The fair has been active ever since the start of February, featuring various themes by various government organizations to reflect the festive life of Bangkok, from the Chinese New Year to Valentine and the National Artist Day, all of which are the major festivities of February in Bangkok. The Market of Merits, which meant to celebrate the Buddhist Makhabusha, is the final theme. The canal and the market will be lit with Buddhist decoration, activities, and cultural products, all of which in the Makhabusha theme market. One of the highlights of the fair is the booth organized by the Department of Religious Affairs, Ministry of Culture, which offer the product from local community. These products are the result of the Virtuous Community Project, which is an effort to increase interaction between households, religious temples, and schools within the local communities. By providing the resource for them to join together, this project aims at facilitating the local sufficiency economy, folk tradition, or religious activity within the community.
ชุมชนคุณธรรม
The Virtuous Community Project includes members of all religions, Buddhist, Christians, Muslim, even Hindu, can all be part of the virtuous community, so long as they follow our 3 dimensions of policy, following the virtues of your religions, whatever they might be, delivering the idea of a sufficiency economy to be used in their community, and tracing and presenting the roots of their local culture.
The Market of Merits also offers more contemporary Thai artworks, featured by the Office of Contemporary Art and Culture, which includes the various modern-style art vendors, offering everything from postcards to dolls and embroideries or even ceramic products. Thai arts are directly influenced by religion. You can see the evidences of that on the artworks and painting in the temple hall or the picture of Buddhist mythology. Something like this has always existed alongside Thai society. It's a Buddhist art that always go along with religion. The cultural fair at Klong Padung Krung Kasem Market is yet another success story of the transformation of this fairly simple district into the vibrant tourist destination it is known for today. Sutisha Dendrikham reporting for ABC World.
The Thailand Synchrotron Conference and Exhibition, or TSCE 2016, in conjunction with the SME Biz Asia 2016, has officially started at Impact Muang Thong Thani Complex, Hall 1. The TSCE 2016 is an effort of the Ministry of Science and Technology to provide opportunities for synchrotron service providers from both the public and private sectors to meet. The conference has been held following the success of the Synchrotron Light Research Institute in creating industrial value of over 3.2 billion baht over the past 2 years. The conference showcases several synchrotron inventions, both from Thailand and elsewhere, and includes exotic innovations such as the creation of golden color pearls, the engraving of symbols on a grain of rice, the discovery of ancient glass treatment technique for complete renovation of glass structures, and many more. The Synchrotron Light Research Institute also uses this event to unveil 3 flagship services of the institute. The first one is the synchrotron solution, the synchrotron technology which can answer the technical needs of the industrial sector. Then the automation vacuum machine, which was designed to provide an improved vacuum system for industries, and the microsystem electronics and control system. The TSCE 2016 is being held from February 26th to the 28th, 2016. Wouldn't it be nice if anything you threw away could be turned into energy supply for the country? A new waste management complex in Samut Prakan is leading the way towards making this a reality in the future. Here's a special report from Kun Panossi Sinsap.
They say that one man's trash is another man's treasure. And in recent years, as the environmental awareness has taken hold and technology has improved, waste can be beneficial for everyone if properly managed. Glass, papers, and metals can be recycled. Plastics can be converted to oil. Resting waste produces methane gas and other trash that cannot be salvaged will be burned, and the heat can be used to generate electricity, while ash leftovers can be used to make bricks and cement materials. Waste to energy has indeed become a preferred method of rubbish disposal in the European Union, and there are now 420 plants in Europe equipped to provide heat and electricity to more than 20 million people. Thailand is working to do the same, with a few small ones of below 10 megawatts established in different parts of the country. Although they have often received much criticism from NGOs and others who have voiced that such projects would lead to increased pollution in the community. But the government and the private companies who are trying to build waste-to-energy plants would like to show that the technology is actually clean and benefits the community.
Once we put the trash into the furnace, it will eat it all up. The heat will create energy. There are filters over at the emission chamber. No worries about the dust. Actually, with this, we will be able to solve the waste problem. You get energy and getting rid of trash at the same time.
Meet Mr. Kanapot Nitsiripat, CEO of Eastern Energy Plus Company. For a decade now, he has been very interested in renewable energy. The government promotes 4 kinds of renewable energy: biomass, waste, wind, and solar. Mr. Kanapot chose to become involved with biomass and waste energy as it can generate power 24 hours a day non-stop. His dream is to create a greener society, and since 2014, he acquired a landfill in Samut Prakan province and remanaged the dump to make it cleaner. He intends to use the waste acquired here to provide the fuel for his 10-megawatt power plant, which will take in 500 tons of trash per day in the future. He also plans to build a factory to extract oil from plastics, as well as a waste separation center. The idea is to make his factory a prototype for the country in order to build more zero-waste projects to help improve the country's overall waste management practices. The next phase, according to Mr. Kanapot, is to build a 100-megawatt power plant, which would require at least 5,000 tons of waste to power it per day. If it goes according to his plan, Mr. Kanapot expects that the factory will be able to dispose 10 million tons of waste in 5 years. The facility is under construction, but is expected to be completed by the end of the year, at which time we may see profound changes in this community in Samut Prakan province. Panasinsap in BT World.
And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Before we take a quick break, here's a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
ASEAN Economic Community, having the same hopes and mutual intentions to create sustainable growth and permanent economic progress within the framework of the ASEAN Comprehensive Investment Agreement. The ACIA exists to facilitate trade and commerce between member nations, as well as to improve quality of people's lives. One vision, one identity, one community.
Pad Thai, created from Thai wisdom, used to be served on banana leaf, and the banana tree is used for practicing Muay Thai. Muay Thai was trained in the temples, which can be found on the mountains, in the caves, or on the water, everywhere, just like Pad Thai. There are thousands of other stories to discover. Discover your amazing stories in Amazing Thailand.
back. You're watching Newsline. The Department of Foreign Trade will tomorrow host an open house event to introduce Thailand's special economic zones. The event will be held at Siam Paragon, according to Ms. Dongporn Rodpaya, Director General of the Department of Foreign Trade. She said the event would showcase Thailand's readiness in establishing special economic zones, hoping to build investors' confidence. She said the department would take this opportunity to make public that Thailand is ready to become the trade and investment hub of the ASEAN region and the world. Ms. Dongporn said ambassadors of 9 different countries had already accepted the invitation, while expecting the event to welcome more than 1,000 Thai and foreign investors. Meanwhile, on March 1st and 2nd, Foreign Trade Department officials will pay a visit to a special economic zone in Sakeo to witness business negotiations between Thai and Cambodian business persons. Thammasat University has recommended that the government set up an ASEAN Epidemic and Vaccination Center to enhance the nation's public health services in response to the formation of the ASEAN Economic Community. Thammasat University's Dean of the School of Global Studies, Nitya Wajanapum, explained that the proposed center would be a hub for study, research, and development of vaccines for all the countries in ASEAN, allowing them to work together to address regional public health issues. She pointed out that the facility would make Thailand a center for the production and distribution of vaccines in the region and a leader in the region's public health sector. Expert in structure Andrew Corbin stated that epidemics are a constant threat in modern times, especially in areas with a large volume of human migration, such as the ASEAN Economic Community. He noted that illegal migrants that have missed vaccinations may serve as carriers for infections, such as malaria, hand, foot, and mouth disease, Middle East respiratory syndrome, and Ebola. Moving on to the global front, moderates and reformists in Iran, including President Hassan Rouhani, are ahead of conservatives after crucial elections on Friday. Mr. Rouhani and former President Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani led the race for the 88-member Assembly of Experts, which appoints Iran's supreme leader. In parliament, reformists are on course to win almost all of Tehran's 30 seats, a major boost for the president. The election was the first since a nuclear deal with world powers. The outcome could affect Mr. Rouhani's chances of re-election in 2017. The twin vote was to elect the 290-seat parliament as well as the Assembly of Experts. The assembly might end up choosing a successor to Ayatollah Khamenei, who is 76 and has suffered ill health. Early results gave Mr. Rafsanjani, a moderate conservative, and Mr. Rouhani, respectively, the most votes for the assembly, which is composed of mostly elder and senior clerics. By contrast, the leading candidate of Islamic hardliners, Ayatollah Taghi Mesbayazdi, was hovering near the bottom of the list. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or visit our website at thainews.prd.go.th/en. And for now, we're going to say goodbye with a scene from the Tiger Temple in Ratchaburi Province as it fights to keep the zoo license. I'm Surapal Lautharanarit. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day. สวัสดีครับ